Welcome to Nerds on Hip Hop. This podcast is about the intersection of hip hop and nerd life. Hyperion, Diggable Planet, Gargantua, and the Virtuous Planet are all fair game. And if you know any of these names, welcome.
There are four main parts. We first review our weeks in nerddom and hip-hopdom. Then we explore theme through our hip-hop and nerd influences. At the end, we ask ourselves a question and open up to answer your questions. Welcome to Nerds on Hip Hop.
I'm the Wolf's Den, and I'm here with my fantastic co-host,
Victoria, aka Miss Old School.
the oldest of schools.
The oldest of schools.
And let's just jump straight into it. And I'm going to we start off with our week in nerddom, and I've been thinking a lot about Doctor Doom recently.
Really? How'd that come about?
So I bought the Secret Wars 2015 probably halfway through this year, and I'm finally started reading it on my trip back from New York back to Baltimore. And I'm getting the same memories about like Doom that I had when I was reading Triumph and Torment, another comic of his I have. And I think there's just this weird connection that I have to Doom more than any other comic book character.
It's because you're secretly a villain? Is that what it is?
Well, I'm not a nice guy, so maybe.
That's true.
No, it's...
You're not a nice guy. There we go.
Maybe not a nice person either. Maybe.
But why do you feel connected to Doom? That's an interesting comparison.
I think a lot of it has to do with Doom's insecurity driving a lot of his actions, or Doom's kind of affections driving his actions. It's one of those two things a lot with him. So in the premise for Secret Wars 2015 is that the Marvel Ultimate Universe and the main Marvel Universe was kind of crumbling and falling apart, and Doom and Doctor Strange had the chance to recreate the world in their image and their idea. And Doctor Strange didn't want the responsibility of being omnipotent. And Doom obviously wanted that.
Obviously.
And he did that. But one of the key things that Doom does, so he's very strategic about how he wanted the world to operate and all of that. But you can tell the thing that he wanted the most was pretty much having Suzanne Richards as his wife and Valeria as his daughter. Like, you can tell the idea of Reed Richards coming back to kind of quote unquote take back his wife and kids is the thing that bothered him. I mean, his actions in the comic to, I guess, spoiler, to kill Doctor Strange in like the second or third comic has to do with the fact that Strange was telling him is that you do realize you're kind of over, like, you should be kind of scared because it's Reed Richards and he's one of the smartest people in the Marvel Universe, but it's also been like, you do realize you're kind of hypersensitive towards Richards because of this thing that you got with the power of God, which is the actual relationship with Suzanne that you've always wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that kind of emotional flaw that is going to be his downfall in the comic. Like his fear of Richards and the fear of losing that, and how he's been trying to push and change the narrative around what's happening. And you can, like, I think in a certain sense, it's easy to read Doom a lot in those scenarios. And I think that's why I enjoy him, because it's the same thing that happens in the Triumph and Torment with his mother, and you can figure out that Doom goes on the same story with Doctor Strange to try to become Sorcerer Supreme. Everyone else there is trying to be Sorcerer Supreme because they want the power. So and people are like, what is Doom going to do with the power? Why does Doom want the power? And Doom wants the power so he can save his mother. Like, it's not, and it's not that we don't think that Doom wouldn't want to do all the other devious things that he would do, but his core thing that he wants, like, it goes back to that there are these other things that Doom wants, but it's that kind of core emotional things that he's kind of really trying to latch onto. And I find it interesting that it's like it's always that stuff that hits me from Doom.
Seems like it's a lot of like stuff that's family oriented, which is pretty cool to think of because I always think of Doom as kind of a solitary character. So it's interesting to think of him in a perspective of seeking these relationships with people.
Yeah, that is funny. Now that it's like the man who created his own country, the thing that he wants is family and connections.
Right. Yeah, like a man who wants to rule the world, but he also wants a family.
So,
That's cool.
but I think which is timely because I've been reading the Doom comic, which he takes up as Iron Man. But that's not the only person who's been taking up the Iron Man mantle, right?
Not at all. So we also have Riri Williams, who I just got into. Her first issue just came out. She is new Invincible Iron Man. She's taking up the Iron Man mantle. And I was really happily, not surprised, but so I've heard a lot before I read the comic that she had a really good backstory, like they developed her, not backstory, but her origin story. That's the first issue. We figure out how she got her powers, how she developed, how she became the person she is now. And I think they were able to do it in a way that's both authentic to her being a black woman growing up in, I think it's Chicago, and also her being like a Marvel character.
What do you mean by
both
that?
Both as an adjective and the company Marvel.
What do you mean as like a Marvel character? What are the things that you kind of picking up from that?
I wouldn't say over the top, but definitely like, just animated. You want someone who's dynamic, captivating, but also like it's very realistic. It feels and authentic. So like these two things I want. So I guess it could kind of reminds me more of like a Spider-Man, where you kind of have these realistic tropes, but also something that's very like out of this world. Having those two things in one. But the cool thing spoiler, if you haven't read the first issue, Riri is a girl growing up. She's super, super, super smart. And her family takes her to this doctor, and the doctor basically tells them, like, she's amazingly smart, and she's going to be bored with this world, basically, because she's going to learn things higher than, like, everyone else, and she knows things, and he's saying, basically, he tries to give them the importance of to teach her how to love the world also, so she doesn't get bored with it. So essentially she doesn't become a villain, or she becomes like Dr. Doom, basically. Before she becomes like Dr. Doom. Because that's what it is. Like, if you're smart and dumb, like you're like looking at humans, it's like, oh, everyone's like dumber than me, I don't want to be in this, I can rule this thing. So like, you need to teach her love, you need to teach her caring, you need to teach her understanding, you need to teach her how to care about the world. And I thought that was a really cool thing to have. And then she kind of like meets this friend, and they become really good friends. Another girl, black girl magic friendship, amazing. But later on, they're at a barbecue, and she's killed, like shot by a random drive-by, random shooting. And there's nothing she can do about it. And she loses her friend, and then that's kind of how she spirals out and starts to lead towards becoming the Iron Man. New Iron Man.
Do you think that they capture a thing about being a black woman, or in her case, black young woman? Because I know that that's been kind of a theme about this year in Marvel, about can they capture black womanhood?
I think so. Like, I mean, it might be a little bit too early to tell, but maybe, I don't know if I can talk about black womanhood if they capture that, but they definitely, it feels like they captured blackness. Like, you see her at a barbecue, you see her, like, the lingo, kind of like this dynamic family. Like, it feels very structured and familiar to me. So I'd say they captured blackness. I don't know if I could say they captured black womanhood yet.
Okay.
But seeing the friendship between her and her friend was definitely something special to see in a comic book form. So, but enough. I mean, we've both been reading comics, but that's not the only thing both of us have been doing. We've been indulging in a lot more of our nerdy selves. sides of our nerdy selves. We both got Pokemon earlier this year for Nintendo 3DS.
Yes, after months of convincing you or being annoying, whichever one you want to call it.
I don't think it was either. I mean, I was interested. I just wasn't sure if I was interested enough to spend money on it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And time, money and time. But it intrigued me. Right. But I'm happy with the purchase. I'm overly happy with the purchase so far.
And you,
yeah. So how?
And you got Pokemon Moon, and I got Pokemon Sun.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that means we can capture different Pokemon. It's supposed to be done at different times of the day, but that's another story.
Yeah, in other words, she broke the rule on her 3DS. She has it like 12 hours ahead anyways, so kind of defeats the purpose of having Moon.
And I'm okay with that. Like, I like playing at night while it's nighttime in the game, instead of the reverse, which is what it should be, but whatever.
Yeah, terrible person, I agree. But there are a few things that stood out to me thus far, and I'm curious what's going to stand out to you. I think the very first thing that kind of I don't want to say it bothers me, but it's unusual for me, is that for the first 2 islands, even up until the 3rd island, this game kind of holds your hand a little bit more than I'm used to. So it's not until you get to later moments in the game. So here's a good example. I don't know if you remember when you're going to Lanilaka Town. I think that's what it's called. The town with the where they're trying to create the Pokemon League, right?
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah.
That's one of the few times where you don't just have to go straight to the part in the map where it's like, you will see the person over here that you need to see. You can actually walk around. You can finally bump into. It's like, oh, you can do a whole mini exploration. You can go to the trial site before you meet the trial captain. You can do all this other stuff. Right. But a lot of other times, especially in that first island, it's like, oh, you want to go over here? No, it's too dangerous to go over here. You must go straight in this line. Or no, I don't know if you remember when you get to not Willa Town, Willa Island. What's the second island again? Alaka? Alaka.
I think it's Alaka, yeah.
When you get to Alaka Island and you just get on there and you're like, oh, let me walk around this town and see what's around here. And instead of letting you like walk far, they keep pushing you back to go like, no, you should go to the museum and see Lily. You should go to the museum and see Lily.
Right. Yeah, even if I think there's certain areas we try to go into, it's like, you need to like beat the kahuna before you can get in here.
Right. So it's been weird. It's like Pokemon has been kind of like, it's been a still straightforward RPG. It's like, it's never been like you could take all these twists and turns. Like, there have been moments in the series where they give you options. Like, the first one is very good at like giving you the options. The second one has some of that. But after that, you can explore a little bit, but you reach what I think is more of a natural barrier. I think this is one of the first few times where I can remember where you kind of see them where like, you can see the barriers happening. They don't feel as natural and normal. Like in other places, you remember how if you went to you remember where you caught the Rockruff? I forgot the name of the cave.
I don't remember.
But where you see those big rocks that you can't move yet?
Oh, you mean on the first island?
Yeah.
Melemele?
Melemele Island. I forgot the hill. 10 Carat Hill, I think.
10 Carat Hill. Yeah.
And you're in there, and you
Machamp.
Yeah, and you need a Machamp to move those. But that's how a lot of Pokemon games would like block your movement. So they wouldn't have like someone telling you like, "Oh, you can't go here." Like they do that once in a while, but it's not very often. It's usually like, "Oh, all you need an item for this, or you need something for that." So it's more of like a natural barrier. So you can explore, and they cage you in, but it's not unreasonable. Mm-hmm. This, I feel like they're like doing it a little bit too much for you to be like, why don't you just trust me to walk around?
It kind of sounds sad when you say it like that, like you're a prisoner in the Pokemon world. But before you said that, I think it's one of the things I liked about the game, because I'm very much, I like to have a direction to go in when
Yeah.
I'm playing a game. So it's like a clear shot, like, all right, I need to go here, I need to talk to this person, I need to do that. And I do like, it does give me some areas to like, and then like, okay, I can check this out before I go, I can do this before I go, I can like catch some Pokemon or can train a little bit. Like, I don't have to do the story right away, but
Right.
I feel like I get bored of my own free time, which is kind of sad when I think about it that way. And like fairly quickly, like within like a few hours, and I'm like, all right, let me go back to the story, because that's really like the part I'm most engrossed in. But then I know I can always take a break from the story and go back to like, all right, I have like a little bit of free time, but
Right.
not too much. And then I feel like if I had that much freedom, I wouldn't know when to stop with it to go back to the story, if I would even go back to the story.
That's
Actually,
interesting.
like
I think I would always come back to the story, but I
Mhm.
can see, like, I can see why they did that. I just think it's weird that you got to see, it's like, as I said, one of the things I don't like about things is like when you could see the seams of, it's like you're seeing this, it's like you're seeing the barriers. Like if you're going to create barriers, you got to make it feel natural. And that's why I felt like it was a little bit less natural. That's why I brought up 10 Carat Hill. That's a natural barrier. You're like, I don't know
Right.
what else is to do here, so I have to go. But I know what it is I'm looking for. I need a Machamp, or I need something that's going to help me move that. That's a nice, like, okay, this is the end of my exploration here. I gotta go wherever.
I agree and disagree, only because with that specifically, I was like, I knew, I like thought I needed a Machamp. So I remember I spent a lot of time looking around, like, okay, how do I get this Machamp? Because clearly I need it now so I can do this thing. Only realizing that you don't get a Machamp until much, much later. And so I feel like if there was a guy there saying like, you need a Machamp to do this, you can only get it like later on or something, that probably would have saved me some time. And then I think I just Googled it later and it's like, oh, I can't get it on this island. So I think sometimes I like that there's a guy telling you like, you can't go through here until you do this. And I'm like, okay, now I know.
Interesting. I want to think a lot about that because I feel like one of the things that this game can do when it does it right is the way that it can lead you. So I don't know if you remember when you went into Po Town where all the Team Skull members have taken over. And like even just small things to kind of guide your movement where if you go, before you walk into the big the house that they took over, just when you're about to go through the shrubbery of the garden in front, if you look to the left, they have a grunt person sitting down, and you're like, and the grunt person, you can't really do anything with him, and you're like, why is he there? Like, why are you
sleeping? I think
I don't. He might be sleeping, and you're like, why? Why is he here? What is he trying to do? And then you realize if you look behind him, there's a small space to go behind. So now you know that when you get through the garden, you want to go behind where he is. Like there are a lot of small moments like that with this game where you can tell that they're trying to lead the player, but I love it when it's like a lot more subtle like that. Because it's like if you place a person there, you're gonna inspire someone to go in that direction. You're gonna be like, why? What can I get over here? Because that's one thing this game always does. Is like wherever you go, you expect to find something or get something interesting. So if they put a person there who doesn't tell you anything interesting, you're just curious to like, why am I here? I mean, you look at the setting and you're like, oh, that's why it's here. And now it's like finding out a piece of the puzzle. Like stuff like that is when this game's like development and idea of player experience is on point.
Can I say how much I love Team Skull, by the way, since we were talking about it? Because they are
Yes.
the funniest characters ever. Like, every time they come on screen, I am just dying because they're so whack. They're so whack. They're supposed to be, like, hip-hop, like, regular dudes. Like, I think of, if anyone's watched Brown Sugar, like, I think of the hip-hop Dalmatians. Like, that is them to the fullest. Like, they're just always moving their hands like they're in an old-school, like, hip-hop video, like, doing these, like, super whack rhymes, like,
Do you remember the
and now I'm dope, yo. And it's like, what?
Do you remember the
saying?
rhymes from the
It's
Pokemon
so
Center?
late.
Do you remember
Huh?
the rhymes when you went into that Pokemon Center that they took over?
Oh my god, I don't. But that was the one like you gotta pay $10 and will your
Yes.
Pokemon. Oh my god.
Everything about that was amazing. Like that was legit.
It was great. It was so great. Like, it's so funny. And I think it's interesting how a lot of them, like, they kind of mix this, like, really lame hip hop stuff with, like, some punk rock, like, Good Charlotte kind of vibes. And it's just,
Right.
like, an odd mixture of things. But
Yeah.
they are the funniest characters ever.
They are. I think, but I love their themes. Like their theme music is on point.
It is.
In fact, yeah, their theme music is really incredible. And I think so. I think Team Skull makes this game great. Like I know that you're going to learn a lot about the Aether team and whoever what they're doing, and I'm pretty sure they're up to no good. But
I
it's
won't
like
ruin it for you.
but if it was just Team Skull, I think that would have been fine too.
I agree. Yeah, because they're definitely a worthy adversary. I wish their main dude was a little bit stronger and I could take him a little bit more seriously, but nah.
You
But he's pretty strong. He is pretty strong.
right. The second battle with Guzma is pretty strong. The first one I don't really think that much,
Yeah.
but I've seen
When he goes to Skull territory, and I did get creeped out when I was there. Like I was there and I was like, whoa, this is different.
right. Yeah, they've really the team is great, and even the things that you learn about the team, about how essentially he was all of them are kind of rejects for the island trials and stuff like that provides a different context. Like the fact that you know that they stole what I think the Boginium Z, and you normally get
Yeah.
your Z crystals from the island trials. Like they've really been like giving a nice backstory about his experiences, and yeah, there's a lot going on there. I think, but my favorite thing about the game are the totem Pokemon. Like I have memories already of like the trials that you do. Like at first, I really do think the trials are kind of cheesy. Like I was like, I really don't really care about these trials because the very first trial you did was the guy was with
The
Ilima.
Rattata.
Say that again.
The Rattata. I can never pronounce Pokemon names. Don't judge me, people.
The Rattata with Ilimo, right? What did you do with the Rattata again?
You had to catch them from the little holes, and then the last one was a little tricky because
it was
always like a different one.
It's Young Goose, it's not the Rattata.
Oh, it is Young Goose.
Oh, wait.
Man.
Unless in your game it's Rattata, which might be the case.
Oh.
That might actually be a difference.
I feel like it was, because I remember at the end you fight a Raticate.
No.
If I remember right.
No, you face a Young Goose. Unless in yours it was different, which is possible. I mean, a Gumshoes. Maybe that's the difference in ours. That's interesting if that's the case. I think that's the case, actually.
You might be right. Anyway.
Yeah. But I thought that was kind of boring. But I laughed and enjoyed myself so much with the Salazzle.
That was great.
So for those who don't know, in the Salazzle one, there's this. They are like, oh, can you find out the differences between the dances? And they play it straight for the first one. For the first one, you're like, oh, okay, that's the difference. It's not really that complex to find out because you're just looking at the differences in the poses. But if you're anything like me, because you don't know what's going on, you replay it like once or twice because you're trying to. They say find the differences in dances, so you're like, did I miss anything? Because the dances animations go very fast. And then you kind of realize, well, the only differences I can figure out are just the final poses.
Right.
So you're like, okay, man, I have to pay attention now. And
yeah,
then
it's only gonna get harder.
Right. Because we've been trained to believe that. Overall, it's like, you give us 1-1 and then it's just going to keep raising the stakes.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have, you see the first dance, you see the second dance, and then they do another dance, and the difference in the bottom side is a hiker's face.
He just like walked into the picture or whatever.
And
it's so obvious.
Right. And you can't take it seriously anymore. Like the entire, like everything that you thought was going to be like this serious test of like, And it's not even like you expect it super serious, but it's like you feel like you had to like actually put in work for a second.
Mm.
I was in full laughter. And then the
Yes.
one after that is with the Haiko, and then you see the totem Pokemon. And I don't know if you realize every choice they have you pick about what's different, all of them say the new Pokemon. They're just like the black, new, tall totem Pokemon.
Oh, I
So
didn't catch that.
yeah, all of them were just reference to that, so you couldn't get that one wrong.
Mm.
But it's I laughed so hard, like I don't think I've laughed out of like pure joy like that. And what I find great though is that that totem Pokemon battle was pretty cool because it would call for help the small Salandits, and so therefore it would poison you, and then that would make the small Pokemon it calls for help from be able to do more damage against you. So if you don't have like a super fast Pokemon, you can get ganged up real quickly on. And it's
Mm.
like the totem Pokemon are been by far the most creative battles they've created. They've been very thoughtful about implementation because it forces strategies. It forces like I don't know if you've gone to any of these battles without a Pokemon that's strong against the type.
Hmm.
Stuff like that really make it a lot more challenging, and I think they do very. I think this is the best thing that the series has ever had. Because
Well, I just realized we've been playing a little bit differently, so I purposely make my Pokemon super strong, so I don't have to worry about battles. Like I overpower my Pokemon, so that's a difference too. So I think I haven't really been as concerned with type, but I'm starting to now because it's starting to affect things.
right.
But before it was just like I'm weak against you, but at the same time I'm like 20 levels ahead of you. So
Have you really been 20 levels ahead?
yes.
Yeah,
Most people were like 30 when I was at 50, so it was great.
I don't like that. I think that takes away the whole kind of like, oh my gosh, am I going to win this battle? Am I going to lose this battle? Like, I want to be able to feel that. I want to feel like I can lose. It takes away
I
the
don't like.
yeah. I mean, like another good example is how I almost got destroyed by Mimikyu.
Oh yeah, Mimikyu gave me some trouble too.
Yeah, and that's what I want is that I want a Pokemon battle that's like, oh my gosh, if I'm not careful about the choices I'm making, because the Mimikyu actually has Play Rough, and Play
Mm-hmm.
Rough is just way too like that is the strongest one of the strongest fairy moves, and Mimikyu is faster than most Pokemon that you have at that time, and then whatever it's calling for help can put you to sleep. Like again, it's just thoughtful about ways to make it difficult for you. And I've seen so many people make the terrible mistake where they think they have a super effective move, but they use their Z move at the beginning of the battle, and they
Mm-hmm.
forget that Mimikyu's secret ability is disguise. So therefore,
Right.
that entire
Oh.
move just like it the scenarios that they give you to fight around have just been very, very good.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. I agree. Yeah, fighting the totem Pokemon has been a favorite of mine too because I think it helps with the immersion of the game. Like it's so immersive. Like I remember in the first one when you feed the trial and you go up to the totem Pokemon like his uh what's it called shrine,
Right?
and there's something like there's a crystal there for you to grab, and then it's like oh like RPGs teach always grab the crystal, like go for the crystal, go for the final prize, and you go for it, and then well it asks you like do you want to reach for it, and yes or no, it's like click yes, and then the next thing it says you feel like eyes piercing at you, like wanting to fight, like do you still want to reach for it, and it's like do I? Do I still want to reach for it? Like it's kind of like a little heart pounding moment there, and it's like all right I'm gonna do it, and then you get into the fight with the totem Pokemon. But it's just like those little moments that the game gives you, I really like.
Right. And I think that's why I think there's a lot of detail. Like, did you catch after you do the Mimikyu battle when you're speaking to, I think her name is Acerolo?
Hmm. I think the purple-haired woman.
Yes.
Hmm.
Do you realize the minute that she gets a shiver?
Oh,
And
I remember she got a shiver, but I don't know what happened.
so there are two things. A, she gets a shiver right about the time she says, "Oh, silly you, there's no room in the back."
Yeah, and you can't go back there after you finish that, which sucked because I kind of want to go back in there.
Uh,
And someone was telling me that there's pictures on the wall that are pretty cool, of, like different
right.
Pikachu.
Right. But that's the whole thing is like, oh, what just happened? So did you really experience that or not? So that's pretty cool.
Right.
But the minute that she says that, if you look into the background, you'll see Mimikyu running behind her.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
That's so creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really creeped me out. And going into Team Skull's like territory, like I actually felt weirded out, which is cool for a game to give me that.
I'm enjoying this game a lot.
Me too. I am so happy that I got it.
Yeah, I'm glad that I convinced you.
Thank you. You are the best.
And now we go into the week in hip hop dome.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's something pretty awesome this week, this month.
yeah, it's a little bit different. So normally I'd talk about other people's music here, but I released my own EP on my birthday this year, which is December 24th.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of a little bit overwhelmed by like all the positive feedback.
It was amazing. Fendrana missed, correct?
Yes, bro. How do you even mention that? Yeah, Fendrana missed, and my brother said it right. Like this is more of like a lamentation vibe mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
He I think that was a good coining of the term. There's a concept there a little bit, and the intention for the project is to kind of make you feel cold and feel a little bit chilly and feel the winter vibes a little bit, but with a kind of a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I wasn't sure kind of the response I was gonna get. Like I sent it to you and you liked it. I sent it to my friend Jomo and he liked it. I was like, all right, cool. I guess it's at least worth people's time.
Definitely.
And the response has been a little bit more of an overwhelmingly positive right now. And I think the thing that's gonna be interesting is that was a big goal for me this year. Music, just like in general music. I didn't decide I wanted to release an EP until the summer. I had a good moment of like pitching, kind of working music with, sharing music with you, sharing music with other people. I was like, you know what? Let me try, because like I was so close to quitting this year that it's nice to feel like, oh, it was not, I shouldn't have quit.
Yay! Lessons learned.
Yes, but what's been cool is that before I even released the EP, I pitched my beats to Nino, who for a couple of people should know him as a pretty cool anime YouTuber, and he pretty much is going to use some of my beats for his mixtape of Breakfast with Weeaboos, which should be pretty fun. One of the tracks he has is called Believe It, and that's he's using one of my beats for that, which I'm just curious if that's going to be like, since Believe It is a Naruto trademark, I'm like, I wonder if this is gonna be a full Naruto track. Or what is he gonna do? Yeah.
And he's even another track for intermission, which is pretty cool too. Like that's major, just to like have someone play the beat, like probably some minimalism on there.
Yeah, I'm kind of semi-gushing and giddy, so I don't want to get too much into that right now.
But wait, so why Fendrana Miss though? I don't know if many people know.
So the Fendrana Miss is kind of a callback to Fendrana Drifts in Metroid Prime. And it's that for two reasons. Fendrana Drifts is one of The minute you walk into that place is by far my second favorite video game, just general moment when music, like musical moment ever. It is, and that entire area is just a beautiful place to explore. And it's a winter area, which is obviously the Fendrano callback.
Mhm.
And I think also, so it's both the kind of winter and musical moment. It's those two pieces of like that I wanted to do a callback to, because I wanted you to feel that same way that I felt when I first walked into that place.
Gotcha.
So
That's so cool. I'm so happy. Like, it's an amazing project. If you haven't checked it out, we'll put a link up to it in the bio. And it's super dope. Congratulations. I'm really proud of you.
thank you.
Yeah.
But
So anywho, back to me.
yes, yes, you're gonna talk about almond milk.
I am going to talk about almond milk because almond milk is real. There should be an EP called Almond Milk.
Maybe, but
Um,
what's the real reason?
the real reason is J. Cole released his album For Your Eyes Only earlier
Right.
this month, which I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Has a lot of people been making the connection to Tupac? Or
I've
is it just,
heard
I don't know.
no one make that connection. So go in.
No, so I mean, just Tupac has a similar project. What is it? I think he has, is it called For Your Eyes Only too, isn't it?
No, I
Or,
don't think so. I mean, I
what is
feel like if
this
it
called?
was, it'd be that we would have caught up on that.
What is it? Oh, All Eyes on Me. That's what his is.
Okay.
All Eyes on Me.
Yes.
For Your Eyes Only. I don't know. It just like, I think because he spelled eyes with a Z.
Okay.
He did like the four, which is Tupac's. Like Tupac always did like number four. You drew the eye, but J. Cole didn't draw the eye. But anyway, I saw that comparison and it made me think of like Mortal Man with Kendrick and just all this Tupac stuff going on. But that's not the point where I'm getting to. Let me get to the real point, which is Almond Milk. If you've heard the track, you probably know what I'm talking about. There's a song on there called Folding Clothes. And it's super simple. Like it's just him saying it's a really like simple love song in a way that's like the everyday kind of love. Like he's just telling this girl like, I want to fold clothes for you. I want to make you feel good. He's like, I want to do the right thing. And it's just like he just keeps saying like, I want to fold clothes for you. And I think that's just like a simple like way to tell someone I love you and I want to be with you and I want to like make your life better by being in it.
So is that the official way that someone should propose to you with folding clothes?
Yes, like I would totally accept that. Like down on one knee with a ring, I want to fold clothes for you. And I would, because I hate folding clothes. So if you want to fold clothes for me, yes, definitely. And so like, fast forward, there's a part where like they're married and they're like, he's like watching Netflix, catching up on our shows, eating breakfast, raisin bran in my bowl with bananas and some almond milk. And then he's like, I never thought I'd see the day I'm drinking almond milk. And I just think that's hilarious. Just like a little quip, like you can kind of see it, like the little things that can change about you because you're like dating someone who's probably like cares about you, cares more about your health, who wants better for you, like. And it's just like a little thing, like he's like, I never thought I'd see the day I'm drinking almond milk, and it's funny, but it's real and it's cute, and I just like it, especially coming from J. Cole, who had like, don't save her, she don't want to be saved.
Wasn't that the original marriage track you said?
That is the original marriage track. That's the unofficial official marriage track. Going down the aisle, don't save her, she don't want to be saved. But now it's almond milk. It's all about the almond milk now. I want to fold your clothes for you. Like, this is the cutest thing. And then I know you're gonna hate me for this, but it'll work later on because we can move on to whatever. Because I think you showed me a song before with Charles Hamilton where he's like, I love love, love is perfect. And this isn't as like, doesn't hit home as much for me as that line did, but it's very close for me. Like it's very much like a way, or like you can use my towel. Like it felt like in that same vein.
Another classic Charles line.
Right. Like I feel like it kind of fit into that, like ways of saying I love you without saying I love you. or that I care for you. Like, you can use my towel. I want to fold clothes for you. Like, it's cute. It's super cute.
That's fascinating because I've had. I mean, I I spent some time on the project and I do not have that recollection from folding clothes, so I'll probably try to do that again. But I've seen people argue about folding clothes coming off as kind of cheesy, I think is the word. And
Yeah.
I don't know, like the in on premise alone, not knowing any of the musicality, the small things where you're sharing is like they can't. I mean, I think the almond milk parts comes off kind of cheesy,
It does. But
but
I
it's
think I like cheesy.
like yeah, I feel like for you, it's like it's kind of endearing still,
Yeah, like, cheesy's good when it's endearing.
right?
When it's not, it's just corny.
Right.
So I think that's what I appreciate about it, especially coming from a rapper like J. Cole. Like,
You
I think
mean
before this, not many people would have expected something like this from him.
no?
I mean,
He doesn't really go in the entire opposite direction.
world, huh?
He doesn't go in the entire opposite direction much.
Not necessarily, because I mean, he does, like, I want that real love, that Jada and that Will love. Like, he's talked about wanting love, but he's also talked about, like, not wanting to, like, settle down.
Right. I mean, that's the terrible, like, it's like a
See,
foot. I can just think of a terrible foot in your mouth line, which is just,
hey, time to talk about J. Cole. He went double platinum with no features.
I'm just saying, this is just a distraction. This entire album is just a distraction from the fact that J. Cole went double platinum 2 years ago with no features.
Definitely. But what are you gonna do? What can he say? What can he do? But we talk about Charles. I want to talk more about Charles because I'm a newfound fan of Charles.
I mean, not yet.
Not technically yet. I mean, I like those two songs he shared. I haven't listened to his project yet, but I did watch the documentary, which was really good. Yeah. It started off, like, for me, it started off kind of eh. Like, I read some of the comments before I started watching. It's just kind of like, I want Charles to win so bad, like, oh my god. And, like, I'm watching it, and I'm not really feeling any of that. Like, I'm like, I get it. Like, he's had a rough time. He wants to, like, he's, like, back into it, but, like, now he's back into it. Like, he is winning. But then you get more into it, and spoiler if you haven't watched it, and you see his mom died, and then from then it just, like, spirals down, and then, like, I want Charles to win now. And it was so, like, touching and, like, beautiful, and just, I don't know, like, it was a great documentary for being 50 minutes and, like, kind of
Not
almost
15, 50.
Hmm?
Not 15, 50.
50, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, just clarify.
Yes. Yeah, just for being, like, a 50-minute documentary and kind of doing not a day in a life, but just like a slice of his life, but it just happens to be like this monumental part. But yeah, I think it was really. What did you get from it?
So what's weird is that, and this is why I was kind of interested to hear what you think, is that I'm already like halfway invested in the Charles Hamilton story. So what I went into this expecting, I didn't necessarily get it. It was a lot different from what I was anticipating. And I think I learned things, but there are other things where I just like, that was not touched on. I was like, that's interesting that they left out the blanks in so many places. So I think the thing that hit home for me was when he walked back into the FDA school. I think that's what it's called. I think it's Frederick Douglass Academy. I keep forgetting the name. And he walked back in there after his mom died. And it was a reunion of a bunch of people that Charles has shouted out a lot of times. That he shouted out H.O., the pretty much who was his manager. He shouted out Nate. These are guys that were like, especially if you were Charles Hamilton like during the early years, these are characters of his story. And it's interesting to actually see them and see them just kind of reunite. Like, I remember he walked through one place of the school. I was like, oh snap, that's where he recorded the Loser video. Like, there are a lot of like moments for like deep cut Charles fans. You're like, wow. And then as you said, is all the story is just a lot of the struggles that he's navigated. Like, and there's stuff that I even expected them to kind of touch on that they didn't really do. Like, there's the thing with his father.
Mm-hmm.
That was a piece I was like, I've heard in fleeting, but I didn't hear the story. But the way that they told it, I was like, wow, that changes a lot of things about how you view, at least for me, view a lot of Charles's songs and Charles's perspectives. I think,
How so?
I think the story, I think the story about like what happened on his father's watch, where it sounds like one of the family members or someone along those lines ended up molesting Charles.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, like that just reframes how he views his father, because a lot of tracks, early tracks, talk about like being angry at his pops. I mean, that's still that was a big part of his like library. In fact, there's times where he's talked about being some issues of his mother as well. So even seeing now but at the time of recording the documentary, how close he was with his mother was kind of sweet. Like, to know that they were able to heal. And I think like the gut punch was there, but I think the gut punch was less to me, given that they were able to rebuild that relationship.
Right.
So I think,
yeah, and yeah.
No, go ahead.
It was interesting to see too, because like you said, like he's talked a lot about his mom in a lot of his songs, and later on after she passes, he talks about like a lot of his music was rebelling against her. So it's odd to like have her as one of his biggest fans, where a lot of his music is like against her, and I'm like, that's an interesting play on things, just little. But yeah, I was hoping to get more about him, what happened, because like I've heard the Charles story, like, you know, he was like the next one to come up, and then like kind of spiraled out, had like a huge breakdown, and then now he's like coming back. So I kind of wish there was a little bit more focus on that, because I don't know, but I feel like I'm probably one of the few people who don't know. So maybe they just didn't want to focus on that because they felt like it was already known before. And then, like, obviously, while they were filming, they had, like, this huge thing happen to him with his mom passing. So reshifting the focus to that and spending a lot more time on that was probably made more sense.
Right. I think the problem, I don't want to say the problem, but I think one of the reasons why they didn't do that is that there's so many, like, asterisks behind these different parts of the story. I think the thing that, part of the reason why I was like, I wanted more was that I wanted more of like the musical side of what happened. Because part of the story that we have is that Charles get dropped from the label because, not just because that he had these other like big issues, personal issues going on, but part of it is like a musical story. And I think they allude to it because they haven't played the piano, they haven't rapped a little bit, but I think as a person who's like deep into the Charles like history somewhat, I would have loved to hear like there have been 3 albums that he did with Interscope and none of them got used. Like, I would have loved to hear the transition between like what he was doing, like things like that would have done it for me. And I think that's kind of why I think the project works. The song, his actual musical project, without going deep into it now. There's a song on there called Stay There. And Stay There has been his closest moment to trying to address everything about his fallout. He talks about the fact that he got punched by the girl. He talks about the fact that he tried to credit Jay Dilla as a producer. He talks about the fact that he took a shot at J. Cole during his breakdown. Like, he immediately like describes them, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess we didn't get it in the documentary, but we got it on a song, and I guess it might be a better place for it there.
That makes sense. Yeah, 'cause he's more in control. and he had more creative freedom and he can do all that. That makes sense. Yeah, I feel like it probably was that like this story's been done before, it's been said before, and there was no more need to like further do that, especially when they had something more monumental happen.
Right, and I think if you're trying to tell a story about like where Charles is today, it's about where Charles like it's not about the downfall. It is about him trying to get back, and I think that's the difference in the story. So that's kind of our thoughts on the Charles. Now let's transition into our theme of the week. And in most cases, when we do our theme of the week, we analyze it through Nerddom, we analyze it through Hip Hop Dome. But this week's special, this we are in the end of our year-end podcast.
Yay!
Yeah, and we decided to do something different. We thought that it'd be nice to do something kind of fresh. So typically, most awesome other podcasts or other shows would probably be doing their top albums of the year or the anime of the year or anything like that. And what we decided to do is that instead of trying to be like, this is the album or this is that, or even trying to say like, this is the comic we read of the year and so forth, like we could be here for days.
Day on end.
But what we decided to do is that instead, to give you guys something that might be more enjoyable, which is try to give you like the ultimate hip hop 2016 list. So we created a Spotify list just for you guys. It'll be in the link below this. It'll be for you to check out. And we're going to share it on Twitter. We're going to be sharing it everywhere. And we're just going to go through a few of the songs we selected. There's like, what, 20, a little bit over 20 tracks in the playlist. So there's bound to be stuff you did not hear this year. There's only one limitation. It had to be hip hop, so we didn't sneak in Anderson .Paak, even though we could have.
Yes.
We did not.
Yeah, he's in an odd space.
He's in an odd space. We didn't sneak in Childish Gambino.
He's a funk artist now. He's not a hip hop artist.
We did not sneak in Solange or Solange's sister.
Because they are neither hip hop artists, and we really want to focus on hip hop artists who define themselves as hip hop artists.
Right. So I'm going to go through. This is a collaborative list, so there are certain songs that a certain someone added to this list that I'm a little bit appalled by. But by and large, I think this is a good representation of stuff that we both kind of approve, both kind of like. But there are songs that you chose, and there are songs that I chose to kind of represent certain projects. And I'll go through a couple that I selected that I felt like deserved to be highlighted in like talking about. And I think the first one to me is Oblivia by Blue. You and I had a Blue conversation not too long ago about you thinking Blue fell off. And you're not the only person to say that.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say he fell off. I feel like he plateaued. And he just stayed at the same level. Like he hasn't gotten any better, but he hasn't gotten any worse. He's great, but he's skating by.
Yeah, for some people he fell off, and the concept of this entire album, he did this with Fate. Is open your optics to optimism, and it's this real weird conceptual project about like where we as a species, as a human race, and that's kind of, like he literally has a song on there where he's like telling the history of the world. Like, starting 5 million BC all the way to now. Really bizarre.
Right.
But
it's interesting.
What's interesting is that, conceptually, if you're going to do a project like that, it makes sense to ask two rappers who kind of always think about, like, the state of where we are as people to show up. And he did a collaborative track with Open Mike Eagle and Milo. And it just feels like just the perfect fit of people to talk about like where we are. And I think I didn't realize how much I missed hearing Milo this year. And it was it's an interesting combination of people, interesting concept. Like, it's interesting for them to be on this album. And I think that track just stood out a lot to me. So there's that. Why don't you talk about one of the tracks you picked?
Right. So I picked Untitled 02 from Kendrick. Just because I don't know, for some reason, like I remember listening to the project and that song really stood out to me. A lot of it, obviously, it's untitled, it's unmastered, as the title that's not a title suggests. And this is one of the songs that actually felt more like a song to me, I guess. And I just remember like getting like this feeling of catchiness and just like after listening to it, I remember like I just kept saying, "Get God on the phone, get Top on the phone," and it might be because I mean I was writing about it before when we didn't know what project Kendrick was going to drop, and the only clue we had was when I forgot Anthony Griffith, the like leader of Top Dog, posted up a photo of everybody's project, and then he put "Get Top on the phone," and I was like, "What is that? What is that?" And so when I heard it, I was like, oh, nice. Like, I love that. I don't know what it is about it, but I just love that track. Like, it's catchy, it's funny, it's chill, but it's, I don't know, it has a nice vibe. And I really like that song.
I'm not sure that I would use the word chill for that song.
It's like I can see myself like in a lowrider, like driving, like enjoying it. Like, that's what I mean, chill. Like, it's a laid back song. Like a lot laid back, but I can lay back and listen to it. That makes any sense.
Okay. I'm not going to question what laws of physics you're breaking by laying back but not being laid back. We're going to let it go. So
it's a physics that B.O.B. doesn't study.
It's no coincidence that B.O.B. did not make any of this list at all.
No coincidence at all. That was not intentional, but it was no coincidence either. But I think the person I surprised you with the most was when I put Gucci Mane on.
Yes. So explain why he made it onto this list.
So I wasn't the biggest Gucci Mane fan before. Like I like So Icy. Like song is pretty catchy. It's fun. But I think, huh?
Could have fooled me, but you weren't a Gucci fan.
Huh?
Nothing at all.
Anyway, I'm getting judgment, but it's fine. I don't care. So first, when he released First Day Out the Feds, like, or when he came out of jail, like, I was kind of like interested to see what he would do because he has been this kind of like, I don't want to say creative, like out the box person. So I'm like, all right, what's he planning to do now? And I really like his new mindset. Like the New York Times did a profile on him where he's just basically saying like, I've been sober for 3 years. Like my mind is clear. Like I'm trying to do good for myself. Like and you kind of hear it in First Day Out the Feds. Like the song isn't ignorant, which this just kind of sounds messed up. Like it's just like, it's a really cool song. Like the things he's saying. And I'm just like, huh. And like, I don't know, like I love like the way he rhymes it. And it's just, it flows really well. Like there's this part where he's like, when they ask me how I feel about him, I can't say you're either with me or you're against me or you're in my way. And I'm just like, that is so, it's just like, he's just like, I'm gonna just do me and I'm doing me and I'm trying to do the best for myself and it is what it is. And then the other part was, he's like, I did some things to some people that was downright evil. And I was just like, I don't know, I like the fact that he's like owning up to things and kind of taking claim of his life. And I really appreciate that. And like listening to this song, like I don't even think there's one curse word in it. And I'm like, I don't know, like I admired it a bit. And it was catchy, it was interesting. I thought it was pretty dope.
I think your Florida is showing.
That's fine. I'm okay. I'm okay.
So
yeah.
But
what else do you have?
I'll only highlight one more track. There's a whole bunch, as I said, there are 20, but another track that I think that I had to highlight was "Miss You" by Rhapsody. And I just think there's so many quotables. Like, what is it? My mind state is Pablo. I'm way over the handouts. Like that bar. Where it's taking the whole like Kanye's Life of Pablo, because his stage is literally above people, like it's hovering above people. So like Mind State is Life of Pablo over the handouts. Like that's just a dope bar. And then she makes me laugh not too far from that, where she says, it's like, I ought to go Draymond. I ought to be like Draymond. I gotta go nuts. Which is I don't know if you know. I don't know if you know the basketball reference, but last year, Draymond Green on the Warriors had this bad habit of kicking players in the nuts, and that happened. Yeah, he got. I'm pretty sure he got a few technical fouls because of that. So, like lines like that is just like she reminds me why I love her so much.
Yeah, Rhapsody is super super dope, definitely. And we had another woman in rap that was really dope this year, which is No Name, who I'm becoming more and more of a fan of every day. We added a song Yesterday by her, which I really love because it's kind of like this melancholy vibe. It's like super happy-go-lucky, you think, and then you listen to the lyrics and you're like, oh, there's a little bit more like nostalgic vibes in here, and like she's talking about wanting to be a kid again and just like all the things she used to do when she was younger, and like, and it's great because it starts off her EP Telephone, and like she actually has a song like Who Am I Gypsy Rap, and I think that's a cool way to start off a project, like introducing yourself. And that's pretty dope.
Yeah,
but that's project dope.
Yeah, check out Telephone. It's better than Coloring Book by far.
Sadly.
It's not sadly. And it's not like Coloring Book was terrible. There's some really good highlights there. Like, I think that's the hardest song to pick from. Like, that's the hardest project to pick a best song from, or like the highlight song. Because you suggested that we do All We Got.
Right.
But if you asked me, I would have picked Finish Line or Touchdown. Yeah. Oh, not Touchdowns. Finish Line or Drown / Drown.
Okay.
But
gotcha.
And so that is our quote unquote theme of the week. And it leads well into kind of our what question for the year, since we've been trying to think about the year and reflect upon it. And we actually get to reflect on our New Year's resolution. So our what question is like, what happened to those New Year's resolutions and what are your new ones?
Right. So last year around this time, Marcus and I recorded an episode, and we said what we wanted our New Year's resolutions to be in regards to nerddom and hip-hopdom for 2016. So now that we're a year apart, we went back and listened to that, and we're going to tell you how we did.
And I shockingly did better than I anticipated.
Ooh.
Not only did I get season 1 of Sailor Moon done, and listening to my voice back then, I was really not into it. And I'm exactly in the same place, but only in the middle of season 2. It's funny how this starts. I'm starting to think that Sailor Moon seasons just start off terribly.
I'm going to disagree, but whatever. Keep going.
But, yeah, I'm in the middle of season 2, so I did get season 1 done. It was great. I mean, let me phrase that. The season wasn't great. There were highlights in the season. But
rolls eyes.
And then I finally bought a Biggie album and a Pac album. I bought Ready to Die, and then I bought Strictly 4. And I enjoyed both. I really understood why people love the Biggie album. I don't necessarily love it personally yet, but I like hearing how he raps, hearing the stories that he tells, hearing the production style. I get it. Like, it is it's unmistakable why hip-hop loves Biggie. So, I didn't love the Pac album, but I think I just haven't gotten used to hearing early West Coast production like that. So, I think that has a lot to do with how it plays out.
Yeah, each of Pac's albums are kind of different from each other. Like, he's one of the artists I don't think you can pick up one of his albums and be like, oh, this is how he sounds. Like, I feel like you have to, like, this is how he was sounding at this time.
Right. And then I did not buy any of the Wu-Tang affiliate albums because I don't have the money to do so. So Tears. But my new goals going into next year.
New goals, new year, not new us, but yeah, new goals.
I think, and I have to say, this one is inspired by my awesome co-host.
Yay.
So I'm going to my goal is to buy the entire A Tribe Called Quest discography. I bought a Low End Theory last year. I bought People's Instinctive Travels last year. And my wonderful co-host has just bought me. We got it from here. Thank you for your service. That's my birthday / Christmas present from her. It's an awesome present. Yes. Thank you again.
Welcome.
And that made me realize that I'm only 2 or 3 albums from finishing their discography. I have Midnight Baradas, Beats, Rhymes, and Life, and The Love Movement. And I think I can fit that in a year. So that's going to get done. 2, I want to buy some manga series in the year. You and I gushed so much about comics this year that there was a point in time where I felt like I almost gave up. And I didn't literally give up on anime, but I didn't give anime much love for a lot of different periods of this year. So I think I want to make up. I feel like I want to make up with the anime community.
Like a relationship.
Exactly. And I've done better anime-wise. I can't even keep track of all the stuff I've watched. But I want to buy... I realize one of the things with the comics is that I've developed this idea of like I'm buying David Walker's comic and I feel like I'm supporting him. Or I'm supporting Raymond Villalobos. Like I feel like I'm identifying that. But I haven't done that with manga creators. So I'm hoping I can find a series that's not going to be like ridiculously long, but I feel like it can support. And then... I have 2 games I want to finish in 2017. I have a copy of Ocarina of Time on the 3DS. I plan to play that, and I have Dragon Quest V, and I have planned to play that. So those are my nerdy goals and my hip hop goal. What about for you? How did you do? I have a strange feeling you didn't do as well as you're supposed to in one thing, especially since I finished season 1. But hey, I'm going to let you talk.
Well, with that said, I didn't do as well as I should have. I'm a terrible person. So my goal was to get more to like underground alternative hip hop artists. Partially not my fault though, because what we did get is we got 2 new albums from kind of mainstream alternative hip hop artists, if that's a thing. Like, we got the new Tribe album, we got a new De La Soul album, and then it's called the Anonymous Nobody. So I did check those out. I love the albums. But I didn't get to check out more like Dr. Octopus and other alternative hip-hop artists I wanted to get into a little bit more this year. So didn't do that. I didn't finish Revolutionary Girl Utena, although I did start it. I just didn't finish it. So maybe that'll happen one day.
Do you know why you think you stopped?
Though. I think I wanted to get into more Magical Girl series in general, though. Like I think I started everything, but I never finished anything. Like, I watched a few episodes of Madoka Magica. I watched, I think, 2 episodes of Princess Tutu. Or no, we watched the
right
the movie.
No, we watched 2 episodes of Princess Tutu.
We watched 2 episodes of Princess Tutu. So, I mean, I, kickstarted a few of them. I just didn't finish. And we still got a day. We still got a few days left in 2016, so I don't know. But I did get into comics more, which was, an unofficial, official goal. I started getting some more indie comics, giving them some more love. I read Invincible. Well, I mean, these aren't indie comics, but I've been reading Immortal Nadia Green, and then before that, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, Invincible Iron Man. I'm getting into now Black Panther, and then as far as indie comics go, like I mentioned, Nadia Green and Bounce and a bunch of other comics that have been really, really dope. Tuskegee Heirs just came out. I got that. That was really good. So I'm excited. As for next year, I think I want to focus more on indie comic books, but I realize, obviously I haven't been able to meet my goals like I wanted to, so I think, and there's someone else, if you want to try this too, let me know if it's working for you. I'm going to focus on splitting my mediums into different parts of the year. So for the first half of the year, I think I'm just going to focus on TV shows that I've been wanting to watch that I haven't finished, and just focus on doing that, and then switch up to films, then go to comics, and then end it with books, like novels. That way, I can make sure, because I think right now, I'm just all over the place. I'm I want to watch this show, and I want to watch this movie, and I need to keep up with these comic books that keep coming out. So I'm this way, I'm just going to do TV shows. Every TV show I want to watch, first 3 months of the year, like, that's all I'm doing. I think it'll be a cool challenge for me to try. I already know I want to start with some 90s anime. I really loved Rune Explorers when I watched it a few years ago. So right now, like Marcus has told me about Slayers. I've heard a lot about Record of the Lotus War before. So I'm excited for those things.
Yeah. I think you suffered from the one thing that I think we need to navigate with is that there's so many things you want to do, but you gotta pick. It's like when you started getting into comics and you wanted to read everything.
Yes.
And you ended up, and I was like, Victoria, bring it down to 5. Just 5.
Big 5. Keep up with those. And then there we go. Yeah, that's what I need. Like, I need a focus. I need to say, I'm just going to do this. Because otherwise, I'd, like, start one thing, then put it down, pick up another thing, put that down, and I'm all over the place. So this should be interesting. Well, I'll let you know how it goes in a year from now.
Yes, and obviously you'll hear month to month, because I'm pretty sure some of these topics will bleed over. There's one thing that you don't have. You don't really have a hip-hop goal. Or when you split up your years into parts, hip-hop is not a part of it.
That's true. I don't have, like, a music thing. Maybe I should add music. What would be my hip-hop goal? Maybe it's to keep more... Like, I don't think I've been listening to projects as often as I should. Like, I'm not, like, right when it comes out, I'm listening to it. It's like 2 weeks later, I'm like, oh yeah, let me check this out. So maybe I should be more in the conversation about projects that come out. Like I said, I haven't listened to Charles's project. I haven't listened to all of J. Cole's project. So that'd be something.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And I think... first I want to ask the audience, what are your goals for the year for hip-hopdom or nerddom?
Yes.
And also, on a side note, since, our friend here is watching Magical Girl stuff, maybe you can convince her to watch Flip Flappers too, because maybe she'll listen to you instead of me. But
it's on the list. It's just, there's a lot of things on the list.
Yeah. Anyways, besides, this is the part, typically this is the part of the show where if you guys had answers to our previous questions, we'd answer, but we don't have that this week. So again, let us know what your goals are, and maybe even let us know how you plan to go about them, because maybe that's a key thing as well.
Definitely. Yeah, and if you want, to send us your answers, what your goals are for 2017, nerddom, hip-hopdom, or maybe even outside of that, you can get at us by using the hashtag nerdsonhiphop, #NOHH. You can email us at nerdsonhiphop@gmail.com, or you can get us on social media. I'm Miss Old School, and
I'm the Wolves Den 25 on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Discord, whatever it is, I'm that.
Anything. We're the same all across the board.
Yes. We're grateful for you to spend your time with us this year, and especially spending time with us for a year. If you've listened to every podcast we've put out thus far, we're very grateful to have you.
Definitely. We're super appreciated. Any newcomers, any old comers, everybody. Thank you so much for listening.
Yes. So, we will catch you later. Sayonara, son.
Deuces. Bye.